Well, we actually
That's Jerry.
do need quorum with Jerry.
She's working on it.
Okay, so it's 11:45 and we are either working on quorum or we have just met quorum as Gerardo just walked in. We have a couple of new faces, so I want to go around and just do a quick introduction of individuals. So if you could, let's start at the end of the table, please.
Good morning, my name is Angelica Ramirez and I'm the Quality Management Specialist for Scan Crisis Program.
I'm David Lopez. I'm a research assistant for the new program at Scan and Frontera.
Good morning, Linda Mendiola, and I'm a tropical sex behavioral health adult worker individual.
Ricardo Lima Jr., Laredo Fire Department Public Information Officer. Laredo Fire Department, Jerry Soto, Program Coordinator for the Opioid Response Team.
Fernandez, psychotherapist, private practice, and consulting counsel.
Guillermo Paul, City of Laredo Health Department.
Erica Lopez, City Radio Health Department.
Nora Peñalos, I'm here on behalf of Nancy Cadena with Webb County.
Colleen Rodriguez, Laredo Crime Stalkers, Chair of the Drug and Alcohol Commission.
Ricardo Montemayor, appointed by Medical Remarks.
Earl Medina with Orgullo Laredo Youth and Safe Haven, and also appointed by Ruben Gutierrez.
Juan Rodriguez, Last Professional Counselor Associate, working in the Public Health Department. I'm here on behalf of Ana Guerrero, who's an LPC.
Catalina Agüero, LCDC with Border Region, on behalf of Jessica Espinosa.
Rolando Pais, LCDC with Border Region, Ms. Quartz, on behalf of Serena Viera. Obviously.
Oh, hello, I'm Tiffany Bettis with the City of Laredo Health Department.
Fabulous times here in Laredo Health Department.
Thank you and welcome. Tiffany, do we have anything signed up for public comments? Okay. Moving forward, we have the approval of the minutes for August 10th. If you all would like to review those and make a motion.
Actually, we don't have the minutes yet. We're
I'm
going to
so
move
sorry.
that to next month, please.
Okay, so sorry about that. We'll table that for the next meeting. We are going to go into a quick administrator's report. So, Mr. Walls, would you please provide that?
Yes, so welcome to the Health Department. I don't really have anything new to report on. I did talk to the county about the progress of the actual detox center. As of this morning, we have electricians in the building working on running all the power lines, and they're working on the suspended ceiling. Everything is going according to plan, so we are on schedule. That's all.
Thank you, thank you. We are going to go ahead and just for the sake of time, and there's lunch available, so we'll go ahead and get to it in a little bit, but for the sake of the presentations, we're gonna skip over to the City of Laredo Fire Department, which they have very important information for us. So if you don't mind, would you please provide your presentation?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you brought lunch because I'm going to cut down my slides from 75 to 47. It'll be quick. Promise. So rainbow fentanyl. You guys heard about this going on a lot, right? Not too long ago, the DEA came out with a warning about it. And here it is. This is a DEA warning from the administrator and Bill Graham. And mostly what we got out of it is this. It's a deliberate effort by drug traffickers to drive addiction amongst kids and young adults. Okay, that was a DEA warning. It was posted in August 20th of this year. Fentanyl facts from the CDC. So fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. There's two types of fentanyl, pharmaceutical kind and the illicit kind. Pharmaceutical kind is what you find when people have surgery, and after surgery they put on some patches. They might give you some pills, and also for palliative treatment for those in hospice, okay? The ones we worried about is the illicit kind. Just to show you a fatal dose of fentanyl. That's all it takes, guys. And the worst one of the types of synthetic opioids are out there is carfentanil And that's all you need. It's just one fatal dose. Have we seen this in Laredo? Yes, we have fentanyl in Laredo. Some of the stats. So as of October, 26 states have rainbow fentanyl seized. Texas is included in one of those states. 107,000 Americans have died of a drug overdose in 2021. 66% of those are from synthetic opioids such as fentanyl. Here in Laredo, to 2021, we had 344 overdoses. 52% of those are opioid related. As of this past Monday, 300 overdoses, and 57% of those are opioid related. So what we're seeing right now is a trend with EMS. They're not making it anymore. You know, unfortunately, fentanyl is so rampant that now they're thinking they're buying methamphetamine, cocaine, ecstasy, things like that, and they're all laced and they die from it. So those are not included in these stats. So now we come to the rainbow fentanyl. It is available in all these different kinds of colors. It looks like chalk at this time. So this is an actual drug seizure in New York, and it was hidden in Nerds candies and Skittles. And these are some of the names that they call them: Skittles, Nerds, and Sweet Tarts. Right now we'll dispel some myths about it. And also, as you've heard about the story that they found them in Legos, you know, up in New York also they found some in Legos, and they found these pills confiscated in those. So what does the research tell us? So the DEA alert did not mention anything about Halloween, but as soon as the public media became aware of it, they tied together Halloween and the candy version, and it's rainbow. It looks like candy, and they call them Skittles and Sweet Tarts. So it just went viral. So the traffickers have long used bright colors and nothing to do with children. So traffickers have long used any type of colors. During their research, it's found out that all these drug labs that test opioid pills for fentanyl come in an array of colors. Everything it's nothing new. It's been around. And now it's used to distinguish the other parts from the street. So these drug dealers, these drug traffickers say, hey, well, those are mine because they're bright blue, and oh, I get them from this neighborhood, these are red. So it doesn't matter, the drug dealers are using those colors to distinguish their products. And smuggling into Skittles, smuggling into the Sweet Tarts, into the Nerds, into the Legos, it's not really to target kids. It's mostly as a distraction factor for law enforcement. Okay. And why is that? Well, research shows us that the legal penalties for getting drugs to kids are very severe, and especially if they die. Plus, kids do not make a good repeat customer. Okay? It's bad for business for them. But the FDA always recommends that you check the candies that are coming out to make sure that they're not tampered with and to make sure that they're commercially wrapped. And so these are the public health concerns that we have. Public health is that the dealers are shaping these pills to look like opioids from a pharmacy. Some tramadol pills, you might be familiar with, are blue. Some hydrocodones are yellow, some are blue, some are white. And so what they do is they try to make them look like pharmaceutical grade opioid, but really it is fentanyl. Just this morning, I think we heard somebody say like, oh, I only strictly do cocaine, and guess what? We found fentanyl in your system. It's like, what? I don't even do that. It's being laced with everything now. And so what we've seen is that they're targeting the young people in part by using social media. So even college, high school, and middle school age kids can encounter these during their drug sales online. And what are we as a city doing about this? So the City of Laredo Fire Department developed a program for the opioid response team. And what we do is we go as a non-emergent care. We don't do anything by the ambulance. So the ambulance takes care of this patient. Say, we use Mr. Oliva as an example. Mr. Oliva, he has an overdose yesterday. Yesterday he had an overdose. We gave Narcan out on the field. So Tomorrow, I come in, I pull the report out, and I see, hey, Mr. Oliva is a good candidate for opioid response team. What do we do out there? We go out to visit Mr. Oliva and we tell him, look, we know we'd like to talk to you about Narcan, and this is a lifesaver. So our opioid response team there at their home will not only teach the participant, but their family members on how to use Narcan out of the field. Okay? We'll teach them how to use Narcan the proper way. We'll also teach them how to test their drugs for any fentanyl. So we provide a fentanyl test kit. These are given to us by private donation. These fentanyl test kits, they can choose different chunks of their product or just the residue itself that mostly work like a COVID test. So just water, put a little bit of the residue in there, dip this in there, and in the back it'll tell you whether it's positive or negative for fentanyl. And now it's up to the person's choice whether they want to do this or not, or just forego and not do it at all. We also give them a CPR shield. We also teach them on hands-only CPR. Mostly these people who overdose with fentanyl do not have a fighting chance whatsoever. It cuts their respiratory system, and that's how they pass away. But not only do we do that, we also hook them up to our local resources. The local resources that we're going to use is SCAN, the border region, and the methadone clinic. If they decide and tell us, you know what, I want to get better, so let's hook you up with these resources. The SCAN has a great program for medication-assisted treatment. The methadone clinic also has a great program, and border region helps them out with the mental aspect of this addiction. Okay? What we're here for is to reverse overdoses, lead people to treatment, but ultimately we're here to save lives. Okay? These lives that we save, sometimes we go out to calls and we see these individuals, and there comes a time when you're just like, okay, what can we do for you? Is it you're going to keep on doing this or not? But really, you're wrecking the families that are around you. That's what we're trying to save also. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
No, so Mr. Soto, if you
Yes.
could please reiterate, why would anyone want fentanyl? Like why would they consume it
Right
if
now-
it leads to?
Okay, so right now, the trend is there's no more heroin. Heroin's being phased out, and the reason is it comes from an opium poppy plant. So it takes a lot of harvesting to get the opium poppy plant ready, whereas fentanyl is readily available. It's made mostly in China. It comes in a white powdery substance, and all you do is, that's it. You can make it anywhere. You can make it inside a hotel room. You don't need any types of special gardening skills. They're being made out of the fronteras out there in Mexico. You just make it, and then it replaces the heroin. Plus, heroin and cocaine are a little bit more expensive, where fentanyl is not. So they get a small amount of cocaine, buy the real stuff, they mix it in with fentanyl, and you produce more product, bringing in more profits to the traffickers.
I mean, but technically considering, like, if not obviously on the Crime Stopper side, if a dealer is selling this type of stuff, knowing that the consumer can potentially die, why would they be dumb enough to like kill their consumer?
I don't think they do it deliberately. So what happens is they mix it in with stuff, and what's going on. So one of the reasons this is going on is this: these people who come, who are known substance users, opioid users, they end up in jail, right? They go in there for 3 to 6 months, they detox, they come out, they could do the same amount of drug that they did when they came in. There they go, hook up the same amount, and it's more potent. Or it's the same amount, but their body can't handle it anymore. Their tolerance is not there like it used to be. So they overdose, and then they die. Now, getting back to that, I know it's not good business or anything like that, but that's the way it's coming now. It's just being laced. And we do see clusters.
And fentanyl has to be consumed. It's not like one of those like where you touch it and like.
It could be absorbed through the skin.
It can be,
Okay.
The research doesn't really show much about it, that, you inhale it or when you touch it. There hasn't been any type of mass studies considering that. So that's why I didn't bring it up, because I didn't want to get you all scared, like, oh, if you touch it or anything like that. There hasn't been really any studies done to show that research that really does happen. Yes, we see it on TV, but it's, one every other one, and then they're just like skeptical about how it happened.
The questions that Mr. Soto was talking about just happened about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
There was a mother actually who lost both of her sons.
Yes.
Both at the same time, they're in her apartment.
And that's what happened. One of her kids got out of jail, and the brother took him out to go party because he just got out of jail. And she, in the morning, wakes up to find one of her sons dead. Goes to wake up the other son, and he's dead also from a drug overdose. We did go to a call for this other person that said that they had been doing cocaine with the partner. The partner ended up dying because it was laced with fentanyl. She almost died. Yes.
Silly question. So you showed some pictures of candy
Yes.
laced with fentanyl, and then you said something, make sure that, your kids will go out on Halloween, or eating candy that's factory packaged. So somebody would put fentanyl on the candy to sell to drug users? Or are they just putting fentanyl to kind of hurt people?
No, they're not putting fentanyl in candy or anything like that. It's made to look like it, but only to deter law enforcement. So as soon as it comes to the end product over here, they open up the package, whatever it is, then they separate in pill format, and each one gets how many do you want? 2 pills, 1 pill, and not the whole package of candy.
It's really
That's
the
just
trafficking.
the deterrence.
purpose.
Yeah, that's deterrence.
Is it fentanyl, is it a silly question, is it a faster process for an overdose, or is it kind of like?
It is, since it is 50 times more powerful, 100 more times more powerful than morphine. So your brain can only handle so many, it has so many receptors for opioids. That's natural. And those brain receptors get filled up with fentanyl much faster. And so when we bring in the Narcan only works for a certain amount of minutes, but the fentanyl can overcome that because the fentanyl might have a longer half-life of over an hour. So a couple of minutes of your Narcan and then you're back to an overdose state. So when I was on the ambulance, I used to go to a lot of heroin users and give Narcan out on the field IV. All it took was 2 milligrams of Narcan. Now, we're seeing between 6 and 8 Narcans being given out of the field. And even then, they're still groggy. Yes.
And when they go to the hospital, it wears off and they go back into it.
They go back. And so I've seen and I've heard where they're actually giving Narcan drips out in ICU.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's that bad. We do have a program with the Sheriff's Department now that we're going to go ahead and they're known opioid users. As soon as they're getting out, our opioid response team will be there to teach them and their family members on the importance of Narcan, so that way we can prevent some deaths. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for what you're doing as far as with Narcan and the program to get agencies being able to be trained to provide Narcan. That's a wonderful thing. Overdoses have skyrocketed since the last time I looked at statistics, about 5 years ago. But I wanted to provide an overview. I mean, I'm glad that we have medically assisted treatment, including buprenorphine, which I believe may be used as one of them, and methadone. But I want to give some of the people here a background of what we voted for many moons ago for our detox program, because we know we're going to have a lot of opioid addicts. And I have had one person die of fentanyl, one of my clients died of fentanyl, another one is actually using fentanyl. He went from heroin to fentanyl. We elected maybe about 2-3 years ago, maybe before COVID, that as part of the protocol for the detox program, because we're aware that people leave detox, they're at a higher risk of overdose. We elected to use one of the medications as a protocol for detox that the clients wanted. We want to use Vivitrol, which is injectable naltrexone. That's an opioid receptor blocker. And so what'll happen is that you give them that shot, and for 30 days they're hooked in. They'll go into immediate withdrawal. They take anything, and they won't die. And so we want to prevent them from dying. That gives the staff of the detox, whoever, that 30 days to link them up somewhere. So that's one of the medications we're using, and, you know, I've been blessed to be working with Margarita since 2010, and, you know, with the Webb County Drug Court as their evaluator. We've been using Vivitrol for many years, and the very first 4 years that we used, 3 years that we used Vivitrol, we saved the community $560,000 in recidivism, went back to jail, hospitalization, and so we were very successful in Vivitrol. I was just talking to the CEO of LMC the other day, and I said, you know, it's a shame, we only have one doctor that prescribes Vivitrol. We need to have more doctors in the community, because I believe that the efficacy for Vivitrol, injectable naltrexone, is better than buprenorphine, which is an antagonist and agonist, and much better than methadone, because, you know, 13 months of Vivitrol, along with the right type of treatment and psychotherapy, I think would be very beneficial. Instead of having these people in certain clinics just going in and out of circles, we need to find a way. But at least for our program, we are already looking at that as opiate addicts coming in the program. We voted to use Vivitrol as part of the protocol. So whenever the doctor comes on board, we're saying, well, this is what we want to use. And you know, that was just my thought. I don't know if anyone else.
Is there a reason behind most physicians not prescribing?
They don't know about it.
They don't know.
So that's what I was talking about, talking to the CEO of LMC. They're used to giving naltrexone, the medication, but you can plan to relapse, and they use it a lot of times for alcohol use disorder. But it's just that they don't really know about it. They're not trained in it. The reason we have one doctor, Dr. Garza Wonga, is because he works with the county, with our program. But we need to have more doctors and more people informed that Vivitrol is a great alternative for medications treatment program.
Maybe a PSA.
Well, you know, we wrote a grant, you know, the Drug and Alcohol Commission, we wrote a grant, and we got funded right before COVID for a program to using Vivitrol to work with inmates in the jail. But because of COVID, we weren't able to even go into the jail and stuff like that. That was a governor's grant. We wrote that back right before COVID, and we got funded. So hopefully one day we'll have more funds. But I appreciate what you're doing. It's important. Narcan is so important.
Thank you. I wanted to give, open it up. These are expired, so open one up. So that way you can see, go ahead. Just go ahead and open one up. And so they can, so you can show them. It's just a little spray. It's like an Afrin spray. So open it up. Put it in between your fingertips like this. And it doesn't need to prime, okay? So there's no way that you can prime it or don't prime it. And as soon as you press it, like press it against you, just press it. You see? All of it goes. That's it.
That's it.
It goes in the nose. So you might encounter them slumped over on a chair, unconscious on the floor. We'll teach them how to, the signs and symptoms of an overdose and how to successfully get on our camera. You can go ahead and do it.
I think the main focus is going to be spreading our into the community and teaching no, that's the net program. It's gonna be adopted. And their main focus is going to be and
This is just the agonist. It's not addictive, and that's what no, they have to be detoxed. Oh, okay. You give it to them. So the example, yes, you grab people with Narcan, they go in a detox, have our detox, and they elect to do the program, give them Narcan, and give them Vivitrol. say the program 14 days to get stabilized, and then we'll send them out to whatever they have then, or another program, and we'll hopefully get funding for providing the control.
Because
Yeah.
how do you test
It has to be
for
at least,
Is it urine, like
10 days
bladder
before they get the
substance?
symptoms, like for a person, or it's a specific test? Like it doesn't come out as far as like an opioid, like microdosing, and you take a regular drug test and it come out as
The cravings will drop, and if they do,
such as
they'll go into overdose, they'll go into overdose. So, but they won't die.
And this one's just specifically.
Yeah, do some flow tests for other types of analogs.
They won't feel,
Fentanyl, it's like 90%.
you know.
So I was gonna say, as concerned parents, you can buy these online
Because it's also
and test your, you know, your kids' candy if you want. Start it off with testing like a piece of sugar.
And,
You know, that's
you know,
how
I
you
had
start off.
one client tell me,
You know, you can tell whether it's test or
and so he ended up in the withdrawal, and they had to call the ambulance, and that, yeah, it does work, but it prevents them from dying. That's like the whole idea, and it's not an opioid.
It is.
And that's the problem that I've, you know, I've always had with methadone, it's a very strong opiate, and even, even typically water, you know. They have to, yeah, so we have, we have two clients, so we're just going to do transition from methadone, but they have to.
It doesn't, just need very little.
You can't just go on one, you have to, and sometimes it's safer, you have to make a decision. I mean, medication was just in there, it's approved, and all Suboxone, methadone for control, naltrexone, all of those are approved, right?
And then
My
capillary
is that they try to
Plus in the front,
because it's
allowed to use.
once every 30 days. And the problem is I have to send my clients and use opiates or whatever alcohol that have to come out of town.
Has it been allowed?
But the marijuana doesn't do the drugs.
Will it be fast or is it concern?
Yeah, well, I was talking to,
I'm sorry, but then I'm like,
CEO of the hospital, he said, well, I think Dr. Garcia, chief of staff,
so we need to give us a background.
I need to get a hold of Hopkins. I need to get the first patient. Because there's a lot of stuff that the community can use this.
All right, so do we have any more questions for Mr. Solko regarding the presentation? That way we can kind of get back on track. Any more questions? I think it was very informative. It's something that we discussed the last time that we had met because through Laredo Crime Stoppers and our partnership with Crime Stoppers, we have seen other cities that are targeting specifically fentanyl, and we've heard all different kinds of stories. So, in having to talk to Mr. Walls, I kind of mentioned that we wanted to do a presentation. There's actually PSAs right now on the radio that are discussing the awareness on fentanyl and knowing what is what. And unfortunately, many of you all didn't hear, but in the last 6 months, there's been six overdoses.
In 1 month.
In 1 month.
1 month.
6 overdoses, deaths, like, as a result of
fentanyl.
That is ridiculous. So,
Has rainbow fentanyl been in Laredo? I spoke with the sheriff's department and our local first responders. Not yet. Okay, rainbow fentanyl's not here, but is fentanyl here in Laredo? Yes, that is a definite.
At least 7 years.
and I'm actually, I was told by the training division at Laredo Police Department that they were going to have or are going to have in the next 2 weeks or so a training regarding specifically rainbow fentanyl, and that Haida was going to do that presentation so that they have more awareness on that as well. So I appreciate both of y'all coming out here and you all showing us what you all are actually experiencing firsthand on the ambulance and with the work that you do. So I thank you for bringing that awareness and education to us.
And thank you guys for having me and for your time.
So we do not have quorum as of right now, unfortunately. But we are going to continue with some of the topics that we have on the agenda that we bring up to discussion. hopefully next meeting we'll be able to do some of the voting that we need to get done. Do you want to break for, grab your lunch? Grab your lunch meanwhile, and then we'll continue right now, like so. Grab a plate and bring it back to your table and then I'll continue.
So what I do is so there's no cost for the program, there's no cost for the screening.
Mr. Walsh, who will be thanking you for lunch today?
What county?
All right, what, thank you
very much.
Connect them
for lunch today.
for detox, residential outpatient, we can work anywhere in Texas, so even if let's say not, detox is, that's all that's available for residential treatment. Then we can refer them out.
Very, very important to make sure that you RSVP for quorum and so that we have an actual count on food always. Just a quick reminder. Are you all
Afterwards, have that. Afterwards. Have that afterwards. Like that, and then have to go back to work.
Are you saying, Halloween is going, a lot of people, oh, everybody gets
all right, well, I hope y'all enjoy the.
That's what a lot of people have been doing, ordering their costumes online, so they want to get that.
That has been like the favorite of.
Clementine's, it's, on San Bernardo, where it used to be, at the hotel. Like it's where Frontera. Yeah, it's right, yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, because I've always wondered where can I get a good meal, so I just thought today.
Alrighty, thank you so much again. Reiterating what I just said, make sure that you are SDC, so that we inform and also so that we can make sure that we have lunch for everyone. There are sometimes that we do have agenda items that we didn't really discuss and have to move forward with, so it really does matter. With that said, want to officially welcome Earl Medina as a commission member. He was recently appointed, so he had already been previously attending some meetings and he showed interest in wanting to be a part of the commission, so welcome. Also additionally, I do want to make mention that I was in attendance on Monday where Mayor P. Sines recognized all his appointees, and I am an appointed by him. His term is up to end pretty soon. With that said, it's also my time to, step down and become a stakeholder if I do not get reappointed. But it was a very nice recognition for all the different members of the advisory committees that he's appointed to. So just want to make sure that you all know that. Since we already discussed the City of Laredo, the fire department, I do want to give the opportunity to our stakeholders to talk about what's going on in your agencies and let us know anything that you would like for us to know. So you can start off at the end of the table.
So for SCAN, we're still going strong with our crisis program. We've got it for a whole new year, which is great news for us. But we're also starting off with another new program, which is called Fronteras Unidas, and specializes in mental health and HIV and Hep C testing. So this hopefully, we should be able to launch this off November. But that's our update.
Thank you. Please keep us posted so that we can kind of let everybody else know.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
We have the take back pill. There's different locations, including the Laredo Fire Department. And I'm gonna go ahead and pass them out. It's on the 29th, from 10 to 2. And you can all take your medication if you're not using it. Anything over the counter or prescribed, you can take. We are also taking the vape pens. except without battery. And this is an event that is every 6 months, coordinated by the DEA, and we help them out to promote it. And we collect a lot of medication throughout the years. We always collect over 1,000 pounds of medication, so please try to spread the word. Tell your family members. Maybe you want to post it in your office, please do so. We have 4 locations. There's going to be one in Zapata as well. And it's a nationwide event, so please take part in it.
Thank you, thank you. Veronica, you want to talk about the drug-free awareness and
Yes.
the events you've had? I completely missed it, I didn't even know about it, but would you discuss
Yes.
some of the things that you're all doing with?
Next week is the Red Ribbon Week, which is a very important week. And we celebrate nationwide, right? And we have so many presentations planned out for the schools, a lot of events for the kids to pledge to be drug-free. We had on Tuesday our kickoff for Red Ribbon, and it was at Morris High School. We usually have it there. We usually have a big event, but due to COVID, we had, done a virtual one. Then last year we had a little one, and this year we're starting off. We only had the guest speakers, but we're hoping that next year we have it back to normal. We had speakers from the DEA, the Sheriff's Office, Chico was there, a lot of different guest speakers trying to encourage the kids to live a drug-free life. And it was a very nice parade. It was a little parade around the school inside because it was raining, and we should have it outside. And there was a rally, and we gave out 2 awards, and one was for Mike's Purpose, the organization. They won the Enrique C. Cabrera Memorial Award, and then another person won Dora Maria Ramirez from STAN. And she has over 26 years helping the community, and then Marina has been very active in the community as well. And they were both recognized for their award, and it was really nice. It's the kickoff, and then we start next week with all the different events at schools.
Thank you for that information. Elizabeth, do you have anything, any updates?
No new updates. We're still doing phone screenings for individuals who are wanting any kind of substance use treatment services, any connection. We can do screenings by phone, in person, whatever works better for the client. Typically 8 to 5, but if they are needing something after hours, then we can definitely work with them. And also, I don't know, maybe y'all can give me some suggestions. I did go out to Hebbronville the other day, and I went to Puerto Rico. And so something that they are having trouble with is that there is no outpatient services. So even if we do connect them with the detox and residential treatment, when they come back, they're noticing that that's what's the difficulty for them. No substance use outpatient services, or AA as well. I don't know if there's any programs that you all know of that maybe can provide. And
Scanning does have a peer-to-peer program, and she does do her meetings online. Yeah, I can go ahead and give you her information, so you can share it with whoever you want.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I would also suggest that you maybe have a meeting with all the substance use outpatient providers, or scan or filler, because you can do therapy virtually. And I'm sure that if there's clients there and there's a funded program, the virtual counseling can be used. And that's, they did some studies after COVID, and it's just, virtual therapy is just as effective, or even more so than in-person therapy. The models work just as well, and more clients tend to attend virtual than in person. So, I use Doximine. I know the drug court and filler uses Doximine, but there's virtual. And I would suggest that maybe you have a meeting, because we don't want to leave the people from Hebbronville or Zapata or anywhere else.
So what some of the counselors from Hebbronville mentioned to me was that the majority don't have a computer or phone.
They don't have a computer or phone?
I know that one had mentioned that she was helping an individual go to the public library to do like some kind of.
Doesn't Puerto Region have an office, a site there?
They do, but it's only mental health, correct?
Yes, yes, but they have a computer. And you know, Board of Region Community Health Center, one of their priorities, it's a state priority, mandate, they have to treat co-occurring psychiatric and substance use disorders. So, I've never met a person that didn't have co-occurring psychiatric and substance use disorders. And so, if they have a computer, they ought to be able to set up in the office. There's really no excuse, as far as I'm concerned. That would be my suggestion, is just sitting down, and I'm sure Scan and Miller, they would all love to help, you know, but, and if they need a computer, you know, let's find a way to get them a computer.
Thank you so much for that update, and thank you, Mr. Hernandez, for actually sharing that information, because I think this is one of the primary reasons we want to meet with all the stakeholders, we want to meet with everybody, and have a well-attended meeting, because there's a wealth of knowledge with Mr. Hernandez, of course, and so if you all have a concern or a situation that you all, or an obstacle rather, that you may be facing with your agency, there are individuals in this room that might have those resources or that knowledge, and so that's just an example of it. So, thank you, Mr. Hernandez, for providing that information.
If anyone knows me, all I have to do is text me, and I'll be happy to answer it pretty much immediately. My phone's always on silent, I've seen clients, but text me. The other thing is, I love Dora, she's great. She's been in the field actually since 1989, so that'd be 33 years, not 26.
With prevention.
Yes, because they're only counting scans. They're not counting their treatment experience, which if you go back, he would be 33 years. Yeah.
Any other stakeholder, updates, Board of Region, do you all have anything that you all would like to share?
Right now, we are in the process of speaking of outpatient. We're in the process of starting to eventually put out there, becoming officially, because of our license, to do outpatient counseling, as SCAN does for the community. So that's something that we're going to be putting out there too, and we'll be discussing that, because we just got licensed for that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we'll be putting out information soon.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, because before it was just outpatient counseling for consumers. Now we're going to be able to help Scan out and better with outpatient treatment services.
Thank you for that.
Maybe will they have to be like the consumer hub for the region? Like,
No.
they don't have to be connected?
That's what we're putting together right now, because like I just mentioned, before it was just for outpatient consumers. So now we're going to be able to reach out to the community. Something we're in the works of doing just recently.
The more the merrier, we really need a lot of help here.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other, Erica, do you have anything that you want to share?
The City of Rio Health Department, along with Doctor's Hospital, will be having their mobile health clinic tomorrow from 9 to 12. So if you guys want to join us, we will be, I think the east side of the parking lot, we will be there. There will be, I believe, breast screenings, there will be an array of services. I think we'll also be possibly having Zumba. So if you want to stop by, a lot of the services are free to low cost. And this is just in an effort to try to eliminate some of the barriers that we have to provide quality care. So we're going out to these communities and trying to provide as much care as possible. So then we are having another one in November. Laredo Specialty will be hosting that. So if any agency is interested in hosting these events, you can go ahead and let me or Mr. Wallace know, and we can go ahead and get connected with our Laredo Health Coalition. And that way we can expand it all throughout the city.
Thank you for that, and hopefully we'll get some more information so we can remind everybody closer to the date if anybody's interested. Anybody else have any stakeholder comments or updates? Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for your updates. I'm going to go over the discussion and possible action. What we will not be doing any action to it. Just kind of want to get you all thinking about the things that we will be discussing at the next meeting. We had discussed that combined agency event that we had done a while back. We were wanting to do an outreach event. There are two possible locations. We could do it at the outlets or do it at the mall. I attended an event over at the outlets this past weekend, and there was a farmer's market, and then there was a Halloween fest upstairs, and there was a ton of people. So maybe collaborating on on a month that they have these types of events, I'm pretty sure that the outlet would be able to allow us to set up tables with all the different agencies and make it fun enough for people to visit with us. But the farmer's market and the Halloween Fest was very well attended. I think I saw over 300 people there during the time span of 5 hours. So it was attended. So if anybody has any ideas or any recommendations, please let me know. But we'll be discussing and putting it out there at the next meeting. Additionally, we have discussed the subcommittee group calendar planning. There was some things such as the roundtable meet and greet event. Right now, as we're discussing the outpatient resources with Puerto Region, Ms. Linda having to inquire about the different services. Ms. Linda, through her agency, was able to provide a resource directory of the different agencies that serve Laredo and West County. And I know SCAN used to have their resource directory, but that's a little bit outdated. And so what I had recommended is to get us all together in a room, invite an agency representative, and start discussing, for a quick presentation of like 5 minutes. This is who we are, this is what our mission is. We are still currently going through these services. This is our biggest obstacle. Writing it down, putting it out there, and then sitting down, breaking for lunch or having lunch, and then having to sit down all together and just start discussing to bring those ideas and probably concerns into place, but recreating that, not recreating, but adding on to that directory to ensure that those services are still currently being provided, and or if there's any additions, for example, Border Region, that you're able to add on to it. Also, if anybody is interested in the secretary role, Ms. Cadena had to step down. So if anybody is interested in having to write down the minutes, it's, having to check what the motions is, the first or the second. This position is for commission members, so if you are a commission member and are interested in becoming secretary, please let us know. That way we can work on the minutes and go on from there. Additionally, the role of the secretary is to help create the agenda or add items to the agenda when necessary. Now, which brings me to another question. What is the protocol for after the new year? Do we wait for the new city council members to appoint somebody, or until when do we go? Because we have a couple of individuals that are going to step down with their council members. So with Rudy Gonzalez, we had a vacancy. Brianna stepped down as well as last month. So there was a vacancy there, but her council members also stepping out of office.
So you would only run into an issue if the new secretary is somebody that's going to no longer be with us after the beginning of the new year.
Okay.
Even if, I guess, a new council member comes in and they choose to appoint someone else, or if they choose to keep the same person on, we wouldn't have any issues, because the secretary would still be a part of the committee and there would be no delay. So it's only if that person is no longer going to be a part of the board after January.
Okay, so in the instance of myself, Margarita, and who else? Mr. Gonzalez, who never came. Let's see.
Who appointed you?
Mercurio.
Oh, and yeah, Mr. Hurd.
He might be mayor.
So we have about 3.
So there's a lot of mics on.
So do we continue having meetings until there's new appointments?
Or they get replaced,
Yeah.
they're just gonna get replaced.
I don't see why you can't have meetings if, just to keep the momentum going.
Okay.
We always kind of slow down in Christmas anyway, but considering the quality of the presentation that Fire got, and I really would hope Fire stays on.
And that's actually what we're looking for in the meetings, in the future meetings. This is a small room, but we were wanting to move back into the education building or the conference
We're
room.
working on that one.
So
So
the idea is to have, and we discussed it the last couple of meetings, that we wanted to have representatives from Laredo Fire Department, the Sheriff's Office, Bethany House, the Laredo Police Department, OSAR, SCAN, Webb County Sheriff's Office. We want representation from the stakeholders in the community because you get to see the client firsthand. You get to see what they need. While we aren't so much of where we have the money and we say it, but we are representatives of our leaders that we could go to council and bring that up to them and represent the community as a whole. So if we do have a concern or an obstacle, then that's where the commission members come into place and go into the city council meetings or to county court to discuss the issues. So we will have a meeting next month on the set date, which we will go ahead and look at right now.
Could I suggest something, Colleen?
Yes.
We had, I believe, and we had more success when the meetings were in the afternoon at 5:30 or 5, whatever time they were. Sometimes it's harder for people to get out at this time. I don't know if that might be a consideration. I mean, I'm okay either way, but we've had to have trouble getting a quorum. I'm wondering if we can maybe be more successful in the afternoon.
We did take to Ms. Cadena. She did send out a survey, and the survey did say that it was better during lunchtime. Unfortunately, we have not had the quorum, but we will send out a reminder for the next meeting and with the hopes and the expectation that everybody makes the time for it. If not, we will definitely reconsider having it in the afternoon because a lot of the people from the afternoon said, well, it's after hours, it's after work, it doesn't count, blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing. So lunch was easier way to escape and obviously to have lunch. But we'll definitely bring it up if it's not working. Because the online is not an option. I think we have the best attendance online, but the online is not an option. Considering that they do want us to meet in person.
I think the other thing that really you mentioned right now about the stakeholders, this is a completely different drug and alcohol commission than we had back in 2013. The first attempt, because it was a top down. This is a bottom up, and so we need the stakeholders. You are the ones that are driving this effort, and so I think we've had much more success with the stakeholders and you all coming, so we will get a bigger room eventually.
We'll find one. And again, you're always welcome to have them here. I don't know if any other cities or Laredo buildings have big rooms.
Want to have some good relations with UT Health Science Center. Laredo.
Oh, there you go.
They do have some meeting rooms there that it can accommodate over 40 people.
We currently have an academy building.
Oh, that's right,
We have 40 cadets in-house.
Yeah, so,
And then we can get the public library. Options are out there, you just let us know.
Yeah, because that was the other thing that they said, well, is it because it's in the health clinic? Is it far away from people? People had said it was centralized. The option was there to host it at the McPherson Public Library. We'll look at it for next meeting and hopefully have a bigger attendance as we start planning the roundtable meet and greet event. Start kind of getting your gears rolling as we start off 2023. It's a new year, and we hope that we continue with the momentum. For now, if there aren't any other comments or any other.
I just have 2 more comments that I didn't get to mention. One is Pillar is having a trick-or-treat festival from 2 to 6 at McPherson, and they'll be talking about rainbow fentanyl, which is the theme here today. So they'll be having a trick-or-treat festival for kids and to talk to parents about that. Also, the fire department is developing a program for high school students because, of course, in order for us to fight this opioid epidemic is the prevention. So our preventive measures are to present a program geared towards high school students for opioid harm reduction.
Okay. Well, that sounds wonderful. That's, I think, something that's definitely necessary. I cannot stress the more awareness that is presented into the community, into our parents, into our kids. It's instilled in their minds that they have not a fear, but more of a, this is what could happen, and then you know that the consequences are there. So I commend you for doing that program. It definitely is something that is necessary. And all of our stakeholders for doing what you all do. So Thank you very much. Any other comments or concerns, questions? Alrighty, so we are going to officially call this meeting to adjourn at 12:40.